Yeah, thanks so much. And it's sort of my job to sort of wrap up for the end of today. I'm going to share a little bit before I sort of recap on the main points of just who the Active Building Centre is and what we've been working on, which has a lot of direct relevance to many of the speakers that we've heard today. So I'm going to just get my slides up and just give you a quick overview of some of the things that we've been doing, and then relate that back to some of the key themes we've heard. As an entity, we've part of the Transforming Construction Challenge, and off the back of the demonstrators and the external projects we've been doing, we've also been playing a bit of a trusted advisory role to a range of government agencies, and particularly those in housing and construction, looking at how it's many of those aspects in that last presentation around the circular twin is very much that kind of mindset. It pervades our team in terms of getting that earlier consideration of energy systems, sustainability, and indeed different approaches in as early as possible, whether it be retrofit or new build. We're finding as well that things like siting of buildings to maximise the solar access is just so important. The thermal imaging to avoid overheating, particularly when you've improved the insulation, the fabric of buildings. All of those things are so critical. And equally, as we've heard through the sessions of the other organisations that have been involved in things like enhancing biodiversity into projects now as part of the environmental net gain agenda is equally important. And that sort of you've got a digital twin there of the building I'm in at the moment. You can see there the John Huggett building. It's an old nuclear site. The new scanners actually can do this in less than 15 minutes in terms of the use of new technology, and scanning technology actually enables us in some of our buildings that we've worked on. The team here have those skills in terms of thermal imaging of heating systems and their use within buildings, and the ability to test air tightness and all of those critical attributes of comfort as well as carbon and cost, which when you're considering end users in buildings is also equally important. Some of the things that we're looking to do as an organisation really mirror the kinds of conversations that we've had through today's session, actually, in terms of we're looking to do more engagement with supply chains in renewable technology. There's a huge issue around skills and green skills needed for the future. And obviously there's interest in bringing together sectors that perhaps haven't worked so closely together. So you heard that earlier in terms of ecologists and landscape alongside with buildings, and equally we need to do the same with buildings and energy and the energy grid providers. So there's a big piece in terms of if you want to achieve the decarbonisation outcomes, it's actually much more multidisciplinary. And I think we've heard through each of the different teams today, whether it be Excella talking around the transport infrastructure and the need to have a multidisciplinary team looking at all the different attributes to improve performance in infrastructure, or indeed the comments around architecture and biodiversity for the net gain achievements. What we're seeing is a massive sort of reorganisation in the approaches that are needed, in line with things like the construction playbook and the new procurement guides that were outlined earlier in the sessions. There's a huge opportunity to kind of, change the approach, be more collaborative in our sector, but equally that earlier collaboration can really lead to massive improvements in reductions in embodied carbon in projects, and also improvements in the in-use, and ultimately better payback periods and lowering of costs of operation of buildings by getting that kind of, whether it be generation of energy and storage of the energy and reducing energy bills, through to enhancing the biodiversity and improving the environmental outcomes for people and nature, alongside our major construction projects. Because ultimately, whether it be infrastructure or buildings, they're all built for people and they're used by people, and so there's some big challenges ahead. So I want to thank everyone, particularly our sponsors, Aggregate Industries and BAM Construct, for today. Obviously, CA News, thank you for the opportunity to chair today's session. And I want to thank all of our speakers and panelists, both from today and yesterday, because I know that those who participated yesterday, there were some fantastic sessions on embodied carbon and the approaches to standards in that space, as well as what we've had today, some really real-world projects and key learnings, particularly from the Transforming Construction Challenge and the innovation that's been going on in the construction sector to drive this agenda. So a massive thank you to all for joining in.